Hi, today we're going to be showing some of the features of the Tecnomotor Diagnostic software. The last video we done called Tecnomotor Diagnostic Tool Range Overview explains the different models and the differences between them. So it would be better to have a look at this video first. I'll put the link to this video in the description below. In this video we'll be using the X6. The X6 is the handheld unit with built-in 2-channel scope and can be used standalone, handheld or through a PC via Bluetooth. In this video we'll be using it through the PC just for convenience for recording the video because it's easier. I'll be using a recording software on my laptop. The diagnostic coverage and software layout and features is the same for all of these models. Like we mentioned in the last video, the X3 is PC based without a scope. 410 is PC based with a 2-channel scope and a multimeter, and the scope and multimeter can also be used on its own screen as well. The X5 is handheld or PC based without a scope and without a multimeter. The X6 is handheld or PC based with a 2-channel scope and a multimeter. So next we'll just pause the video for a minute and get set up at a vehicle and get my laptop set up so we can start recording the screen and show the features of the software. So now we're connected up to this 2015 Fiat Ducato. It's our own vehicle that we use for calling out and giving on-site demos of the equipment we do. It's a 2.3 JTD. So we have the X6 connected up. Like we were saying, we can use the X6 standalone as a handheld tool, and that's what most people do, but you can also use it through the PC via Bluetooth. But mainly we're just going to use it through the PC today for convenience recording the video. So just wait till it boots up here. So for when we want to use it through the PC, there's a PC software that you have installed on your laptop, and it basically gives us a copy of all this software on the laptop, and then we just have to put the tool into a certain mode, and we can use all these features through the PC. It's actually a new update just out yesterday. I didn't get a chance to do it. Like we said, this tool and the X5 is Wi-Fi enabled, so once we're connected to the internet here with the blue light on, it'll automatically pop up and tell us that there's a newer version available. So we'll just close out that. So we said this is X6 then, so we have all the features on it. We have our multimeter and oscilloscope. The only difference then, if the X5 is basically the same tool, but these two buttons will be greyed out or won't be on it. You won't have the multimeter and the scope. And the 400 and X3 then are purely PC based. If you have the X3, these will be greyed out as well. You won't have this option. And if you have the 400, they'll be active on it. So in this case then, like we said, most people just use this standalone, but in our case here we're just going to go into settings, and we're going to set it up for PC control. Do you want transparent mode? Yes. Okay, so now it should be in the PC control mode, and with Bluetooth then we can connect to the PC. So now we'll just switch over to our PC to record the video as well. So now we're set up on our PC. We'll open the Socio X6 PC software. It's prompting us about the software update again. I need to do that later. Just make sure I'm record of the tool. We have our multimeter, oscilloscope, TPMS. Yeah, so sorry, yeah, this one then is for TPMS if you're using Tecnomotor's TPM02 TPMS tester. Their handheld TPMS tester is for reading the sensors, IDing it, activating the sensors, cloning sensors, so you can code in universal sensors. So the idea of this feature here in the software is if you're using their TPMS tester And for example, if you fitted 4 new valves to a vehicle, you just read the IDs of the sensors with the handheld tester, and via Bluetooth then it will send it to the diagnostic software. So then if you need to code the new sensor IDs into the vehicle, the IDs will be just transferred to the diagnostic software to write it, instead of having to key it in manually. So then we have all their different options here. We'll be using it in the car light commercial software just when we're demonstrating it. And this one is for their TISWeb, their technical information system. We'll be showing another video on this later on. And this just EOBD function. So on the software then, there's some features, just displays the time and date here. Here's where we go to update it. Like we said, all the PC based ones is done updated straight from the laptop. The X5 and X6, they're handheld units, but they're Wi-Fi enabled, so they can be updated directly from the tool. This to print. On the X5 and X6 to print, if you want to print anything, you print it to a USB stick, and then bring the USB stick to your computer and print it off. And here we have our settings, so you can put in your workshop data, name, address, and so on, so that then when you're printing off any diagnostic reports or anything, your company details will come up on it. And this is just for the Bluetooth setup with the X6 and X5. If it was for in the case of the X3 and the 400, you'll have an option here for Bluetooth or USB cable. It's just the type of cable we're using. Software setup, then you can have it in a way that the software prompts you to ask for kilometers, operator, number plate, and so on. We have them set to false there, so what happens is, if you haven't set it true, every time you try back out of a vehicle, it'll ask you for these details to put into the report. But just for speed's sake, we have them all set to false. Measurement type, metric or imperial. Change color scheme, and that's for setting up the TPMS tester. In here then, if we click in here, it'll show us the version of software we're on, our password and our expiry date for updates. Up here we have our this folder of reports. So if we go here, is the last, gives us a list of the last vehicles we connected to. So for example, say a week later we came back and we wanted to get back into this Ducato, we just click here, click OK, and all the details are pre-filled in, so you don't have to fill them in again. This one then is latest diagnostics, so this will show us reports of all the last diagnostics we done. I think it stores the last 50. So say for example, just find one here. If we click on any of these, it'll show us the report. So the report is like all the information, the vehicle we connected to, the software release, the battery voltage, the ECU part numbers, the time we started the test at, the information of the ECU, VIN number, then it'll show it in certain cases, the errors that were present in beginning the communication, the parameters we looked at, and so on. So again, this is useful if we want to, if we diagnosed or plugged into a vehicle say 2 weeks ago, and we could have printed this report and gave it to the customer, or if we didn't print it and didn't give it to the customer and it came back in a few weeks later with a light on again or a problem again, we can look back and see what faults were in it previously. There's some other bits here, I won't go into them too much. Last service coupon, last charts. This is last charts, is if you do some data logging or recording, it stores them here. We'll just go back to home screen here then. Yeah, and sorry, just to mention there as well, like we said, we're going to be showing it on car and light commercials. So say for example, if you buy a car and light commercial software come as one package, the multimeter, the scope, AOBD, all this comes as standard. These then are optional extra subscription, so motorcycle, truck, bus, pickup, trailers and so on, and the TISWeb is an optional yearly subscription. So then we'll go ahead and start connect up to this vehicle. So in this case we're going in under light commercial, so we can scroll up or down here on the side, or if we have the mouse hovered over the side we can just press F, it'll bring it down to the first brand beginning with F. In here then we can go ahead and search by vehicle make, model, year, so on, or we can search by control unit or search by engine code. In this case we'll just search by make, model, year, etc. So it's 2015. Hers is a Jacajo van, a 250. So we're into this one, 130 multi-jet. So now we again here then, this is the list of ECUs that could possibly be fitted to this vehicle. So we can pick whichever control unit we want to go into and go in and do our diagnostics. Here is the Payoki functions. Like we said, Payoki is a Japanese word for simplifying, or Japanese word for simplifying a process. So say for example if you wanted to do service reset, some vehicles the service reset will be in the instrument panel, some will be in the body computer or so on. So instead of us having to know which control unit to connect to here, when we click here the software automatically decides where to go to perform the process. The same with the likes of DPF or ILADA. For example, if this was on a Peugeot Citroen, some Peugeot Citroens have a separate additive ECU and others are in the engine ECU. So once we're in and we have the correct vehicle selected, engine code, year, etc., we click here, the software decides where to go, where to connect to. This option then is for vehicle scanning, where it will scan all the control units, and then VTC errors deleting. This just shows you the type of cable to use and the general location of the picture. And this is the TISWeb, the Technical Information System, which is an optional extra, but we'll show more on this later. So just here then we'll go into engine. And if you know the engine code, you can go straight into it. Or if not, we can pick all ECU. In this case then you have the specific ECU in this vehicle. It's a Marilli ECU, or we can go standard EOBD, but we always go, if the option is there for the specific ECU, it'll be better, it'll give you more functions. In here then we have to go in and do our full diagnostics, or if we just want to do service reset, oil quality reset. These are again with the OK beside them. There's some of the Payoki functions, but we can still access all these 4 items in here. So we'll go in here then. So starting to communicate. So once we're in then and communicating, on the first screen it'll displays our parameters or live readings. If there's any fault code stored, they'll be on the bottom of the screen here. You see we have no errors. So you have your full list of parameters. It has so many displayed here on the top, and then you scroll down through them and it only starts to read the other parameters as you scroll them onto the screen. The purpose for this is we don't want too many parameters reading at once, or it'll slow down the display rate or the refresh rate of the parameters changing. So as you can see in this case there's a huge amount of parameters. It just takes a few seconds for them to start displaying them once you scroll down. So yeah, you can scroll through all your readings here, or we can go select and just highlight the ones that we want to view. So when we do this, it'll only bring up the particular readings we want to see. So in this part of the software, the parameters are all displayed in numerical values. If we want to graph any of the parameters, we can go into here, Analyst Chart, and we can graph them here, and we can just select, I think you can select up to 7 or 8 parameters here at once, but generally in this, if you're wanting to view parameters, I wouldn't recommend any more than 1 or 2 at a time to allow it to display faster. So yeah, you can, I think it's up to 7 in this part. If we go back here, yep, so that's parameters. Then here then we have activations. Like I said, this list depends then what the vehicle control unit allows us to activate. So in this case, there's many different items here we can activate. Codings then again depends on what items can be coded or adapted on the vehicle, and also what Tecnomotor has developed. So in codings you'll have things like injector coding, DPF pressure sensor replacement, DPF replacement, speed limit, setting speed limits, various other items depending again on what the vehicle allows you to do. ECU data then, generally this list will give you the manufacturer's part number, hardware number, software number. Sometimes they give you a programming date. In the case of diesels then most times it will give us the injector codes that are already stored in the ECU. The report then, this is if it's after generating this report as we were using the diagnostic system. So again, details of the vehicle, time we started at, the ECU part numbers, so on. There was no errors present. The parameters we looked at the first reading, we activated the electric fan, and then you can print this off to show to the customer, or it'll store it in the software if you need to look back at it later. Also a nice little feature here displays the actual battery voltage as you're working on the vehicle. Really I should have a battery support unit or charger or something on this while I'm doing this, but we'll be okay for the minute. I'll start it up in a few minutes. So yeah, it's a nice feature to keep an eye on the battery voltage as you're working. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention, it automatically saves certain amount of things in the report, but if we want to save anything extra, so as we look at different readings here, we can click save and it'll save them to the report. Then we'll just go back. Now here, this little icon here shows us that we're actually communicating live at the moment. If we want to stop communication, we click on this, and restart it, we click again. It actually, this software and their hardware holds on very well when if you switch the key on and off or start cranking, it hangs on to communication quite good compared to some other tools. So we're in engine here now. If we want to get back and go back into a different system, we just click here, enter VIN now. So we were in engine, we can click back here, for example, go into ABS. go into full diagnostics or just a steering angle reset. So go here. Again, you have your list of parameters. It's actively displaying the ones that's within the window. When we scroll down, it'll start displaying the others. Just takes a second or two. The reason it does this is to keep the parameters changing as fastly as possible and not to be trying to view too many at the one time. But like we showed in the earlier case there, we can pick certain items that we want to look at. I think it's up to 10 at a time. So we can just highlight the important ones that we want to view. Again, you have activations here. Again, that depends on the vehicle. Codings, steering angle calibration. Yeah, so we'll just go back here then, and we might just go back to home and just do a complete scan on the vehicle. So we can go to here if we wanted to save us filling it all back in again. Feed to Cajo. Okay. Vehicle scanning, DTC error scanning. At the end of it then, it asks us, do we also want to perform diagnostics through EOBD protocol? We'll just go no. So the ones with the green tick are systems is connected to, and they're green tick because they have no faults. The ones with the exclamation mark is the connected to and there is a fault. And then the ones with question mark are either not fitted or for some reason we can't communicate with it. In this case, they're not fitted. We don't have parking assist or Bluetooth multimedia player. So when we're in this screen then as well, we can actually go into each item then individually, straight from here into the full diagnostics. So if there was a fault, we can connect directly then into the engine ECU, go in and read the clear or read faults, check other items. So straight in here, or if for any reason then we want to go back to the scanning page, we just hit the back button and we're back to this screen again. So that's our scanning, or we call it DTC Express. Or if we want to clear all the faults, then we can clear them all globally as well. Let's go back to home here again then. Yep, sorry, just go back to home here then. Let's go to my commercial again. Also then there's another feature here, we can search by engine code. And put in maybe a Renault code here. So put in the M9R is the 2-litre Renault engine. So then it brings me up a list of all the vehicles that code is fitted to. That engine code can be fitted to. So we pick then whichever one, whichever vehicle ours is from this list. That's quite a big list then, because that engine is fitted to a lot of different vehicles. Then we have another option here. So in earlier we went in by make, model, year, engine, or engine code, so on, or engine power. Also we can go here, search by control unit. So for example, we could, if we were having problems getting in the normal way, we can pick, say, feet. We could pick a year range, so we could pick maybe, like in this case, 15, 14 and 16. Pick the system we want to communicate with. So say for example we go ABS. So now we're after telling the system that it's feet within a certain year range and we want to search the ABS. So now it will search all possible control units that can be fitted in a Fiat vehicle in them year ranges. We didn't tell it was a Giacomo or a Bravo or Brava or any of that. We're just telling it. It's a Fiat. Now it will scan all available ECUs listed for Fiats, and ones with a red X are a no-go, and the ones with a green tick are possibilities. So what we do in that case then is we connect to one, make sure the parameters are reading right, and if they are, we're in the right system. If not, we can come back and try the other one. I'll just stop that now, we won't let it down. So that's another useful feature. Only really needed if you're having problems connecting by the standard search by make, model, year, engine code, so on method.